There was a lot of news today from the direction of Kurakov. After a series of failed attempts to find a weak spot in the defenses and around Konstantinovka, Russian commanders were forced to adjust their actions. This led to a change in tactics and the preparation of one of the largest Russian mechanized attacks since the beginning of the war. Reconnaissance attacks have been conducted over the past month to assess the strength of the Ukrainian response, determine the types of munitions used, and most importantly, measure the time between detection and response. Since all previous assault squads had been quickly and decisively neutralized, Russian commanders concluded that only a significantly larger strike group could ensure that at least some troops reached Konstantinovka. As a result, they began assembling a reinforced battalion group of nearly 70 pieces of equipment, 11 tanks, 46 armored fighting vehicles, 12 motorcycles, and 200 soldiers. Interestingly, this group included one of the rare BMPT Terminator tank support combat vehicles, of which, as of December 2023, only 23 units have been produced. The size and diversity of this assault group emphasizes the importance of the operation to Russia and their willingness to invest significant resources to gain a foothold in Konstantinovka and use it as a springboard for a further offensive. The Russian assault group was divided into several subgroups, each led by a tank, followed by several armored fighting vehicles with troops and then motorcycles. These subgroups attacked simultaneously to overwhelm the Ukrainian defenders numerically, dividing their efforts. The objective was to penetrate Konstantinovka from the south and gain a foothold there. As you may recall, the defense of this section of the front is entrusted to the 79th Airmobile Brigade, one of the most trained and well-equipped elite Ukrainian units. Drone operators from this brigade keep 24-hour surveillance of the front line, as well as monitoring the enemy's rear to anticipate their movements and react quickly. Not surprisingly, they detected this large column of armored vehicles from afar and raised the alarm on all Ukrainian units in the area. The first line of defense against such armored attacks includes the creation of extensive minefields, and Ukrainian engineers have already demonstrated the thoroughness of their work. However, given the size of the enemy forces, it was obvious that relying on minefields alone would not be enough to deter the Russian offensive. Realizing the possibility of a critical situation, the Ukrainians decided to use all available weapons in their arsenal. Geolocation videos released by the brigade show artillery and kamikaze drones attacking various enemy vehicles on the outskirts of the village. These images not only reveal the complex tactics of the Russians, but also emphasize the diversity of their assault teams. The size of the assault groups varies. Some have up to 10 pieces of equipment, while others have 3 to 5. The footage emphasizes the adaptability and readiness of Ukrainian forces to repel such large-scale attacks. The videos demonstrate the multi-layered approach of the Ukrainians, who invariably seek to hit the lead vehicle of each column to either halt the advance of the others or immobilize them, making them easier targets for artillery and drones. Various images show not only the devastating effectiveness of these tactics, but also the important role of pre-prepared minefields, as evidenced by the powerful explosions of the Russian armored fighting vehicles. This strategic combination led to significant successes, and the 79th Airmobile Brigade confirmed that it successfully repelled the Russian attack, destroying the lead vehicles in each subgroup and inflicting significant losses. 6 out of 11 tanks were destroyed. 10 out of 46 armored combat vehicles were destroyed. All 12 motorcycles were destroyed, and out of 200 Russian soldiers, 40 were killed and 37 wounded. This clever defense tactic demonstrated the effectiveness and preparedness of the Ukrainian defenders in the area. Such deadly attacks without success on various parts of the front have led the Institute for the Study of War to conclude that the Russian military command's willingness to spend large numbers of armored vehicles on limited tactical objectives reflects poor, long-term operational foresight and limitations in Russian equipment in the medium to long term will make such failed mechanized attacks costly over time. The Russian military relies heavily on rebuilding stockpiles of Soviet weapons and military equipment, especially armored vehicles, to maintain the pace of offensive operations in Ukraine. Given the current trend, it is impossible for the Russian defense industry to produce enough equipment to catch up with the high level of equipment losses, even with the further economic mobilization that the Kremlin can expect. Overall, the Russians have still found nothing better than to throw more men and armored vehicles into frontal attacks in an attempt to overcome Ukrainian defenses southwest of Donetsk. Even the largest armored assault group we have seen in the region in the last 12 months was effectively stopped by the highly effective Ukrainian elite units responsible for defending the region. Such successful operations not only gave the Ukrainians more time to prepare even better defensive positions, but also dealt a huge blow to Russia's offensive capabilities and military economy in the medium to long term. This will only help the Ukrainians create better conditions for themselves on the battlefield.